everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great project for you today. It's a basket. I love that I finally was able to figure out an easy way to do a basket. We're calling this Mayday baskets, of course, and it's just darling, isn't it? I can't wait to show you how to do it because it's super easy. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is one roll of 2.5-inch strips, and we have used this beautiful burgundy and blush from Maywood Studios. You're going to need some background fabric. That's this right here. And you are going to need, let's see, 2.5 yards. That includes your first little border out here. This second border out here is a nice 5-inch border. And you're going to need 1.25 yards for that. For your backing here, look, we've used the same rose fabric that we used in the baskets. Makes it really pretty. And for your backing, you're going to need 4.5 yards. You're also going to need some complementary fabric. Now, this is the fabric that we used for our baskets, and you're going to want to pull out something, even a solid you could use, but something that makes that basket pop. And for that, you're going to need 1 yard of fabric, of complementary fabric. You're also going to need these Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer. You're going to use both the A ruler and the B ruler, so that will help you. All right, let me show you how to make this because this is really fun. So we're going to take 2 strips and we're going to sew them together. So we have a dark strip and a light strip. And this is a great packet to go through because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of darks and there's a lot of lights. And you can just put them together, darks and lights, and sew 1/4 inch on both sides. This enables us to cut our half square triangles from both sides so that they work. So we're going to take the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer B, and we're going to cut 3-inch half square triangles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to lay their stitch line on our stitch line, just like this, and match it right up. And then we're just going to cut side to side like this. And once you've cut one, I already have cut one. Once you've cut one, you can really just cut from one side. So flip it around and match it up. Match up your seam line with their seam line, just like that. Match it up and make a cut. And you're going to do this to your whole strip. Now you'll get 2 basket blocks out of each strip. And but for each basket block, let's see, where's my basket? Here it is. All right, so for each basket block, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the little 3-inch half square triangles. This is the block we're talking about. Okay, so I have some over here. I've cut some here. Let's press those open. Just like this. And we're pressing to the dark side. Now to make your basket shape, you are also going to need some of the same size triangles, half square triangles with your basket fabric. So you'll take a 2.5-inch strip of your basket fabric and you'll sew it right sides together, 2.5-inch strip to your background strip, sew on both sides, and you're going to cut out 3-inch half square triangles with that one as well. So let me show you how this starts because we're going to start laying it out before we get on to the next part. So what we're going to do is we are going to put all of our half square triangles out like this so you can see where we're going. And we're going to put 3 in a row just like that. The next one we're going to put 2. Oh, let me turn that around. 1 more. And then down here we're going to put 1. Like this. Now these 2 pieces in here are made with the basket fabric, and that gives our basket the shape, and so those are going to go in here like this. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to sew these together, and we're going to sew a 3-inch by 5.5-inch strip here, and then we're going to sew one of those strips on here. And we need to make a half square triangle. See, this basket block in the corner is just a half square triangle. So we need to make one of those for our center piece that makes our basket. So let me show you what I got here. You're going to cut your complementary fabric and some of your background into 6-inch strips. We're going to take, let me move this over. Make sure you can see everything here. Don't worry, I can put it back. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make our basket now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to draw a line side to side right here with our 6-inch. Let me use my bigger ruler. And we're going to draw corner to corner like that. We're going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of that line, and that's going to give us 2 half square triangles for our baskets. All right, now I'm just going to flip this around and sew down the other side. There we go. And now we're going to take this and cut it in half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our trimmer our A trimmer, and we are going to make these 5.5 inches. So we're going to line our seam line with their seam line. We're going to match it up as good as we can, and then we're going to trim this, and it should just be a little bit of trimming that you're doing. Just like that. And that's going to make our basket for 1 block, and this is going to make our basket for another block. So again, 5.5, line your seam line with theirs. So see, it doesn't matter really where you cut because you're lining up your seam lines. Just like that. So these squares are going to end up 5.5. Remember, you start with a 6-inch strip of color, of print, and a 6-inch strip of background. You're going to subcut those into 6-inch squares. We're going to put 2 of those together, and we're going to get 2 half square triangles out of each one. And so I'm just going to press this to the dark side, like that. And I'll go ahead and press both, even though I only need 1 per block. Once you start making these little half square triangles, though, they go together so quickly. All right, so let's put our basket together again one more time so you can actually see how this goes. Again, we're going to have 3 of these in one row. Let me make sure we get it right on here. 2 in the next row. So we have 2 and a basket block. Then we have 1 right here and a basket half square triangle. And then our basket block goes in here like that. And it makes the pretty basket. So we're going to sew these together, and then we're going to attach a 3 by 5.5 inch rectangle on here. And to do that, what I do is I just sew them by rows. So I just make sure they're going the same direction. I sew 1/4 inch down the seam, and I do a row at a time. And I do that because so I don't get confused, so I don't sew the wrong thing to the wrong thing go in the wrong way. Because you know I can do that. So here's my 1 row right here, and then here's my next row, and I'm going to put these 2 together. Now I'm going to add my little basket one on there, and the dark part all points the same direction. And now I'm going to sew these 2 rows together. So I've got them here. I'm just going to lay them right sides together, and then I'm just going to sew them together. And I'm going to match up at every seam, at every junction I'm going to match up. So we're going to start right here. We're going to sew a few, and then I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to feel where those seams come together. And then I'm going to sew to that point, and I'm going to do the same thing at every little seam so that they line up just perfectly. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew these little 2 bottom ones next. So I've got a basket one and the flowers from the basket, whatever we're calling those, up at the top. Just like that. And now we're going to go to the ironing board. And this way you can just sit and sew and go to the ironing board one time. Well, more than one time you'll need to go, but we're just gonna iron these right here, and we're going to iron these right here. Now to make these fit with our basket block, we have to add some setting blocks. These are our side blocks right here and right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 piece. This one goes this way. And again, these are 3 inches by 5.5, and we're going to add 1 on this end right here, and we're going to add 1 to the bottom right here. So this one goes on this end. Let's go ahead and do that. And then just sew 1/4 inch right down the side. And then this one, we're going to sew just like that. So just how this is right here with just like that. We're going to sew those together 1/4 inch. All right, now let's press those open. Now I'm going to go ahead and just roll this back right here because there's a lot of seams on the other side, and we're just going to want to roll it back. All right, so this top side of our basket is finished, and we're going to take this bottom one now and sew it to the half square triangle, just like that. So right sides together, and we're going to stitch this down. And we're going to stitch this down right here. And then we're going to open this up, and we'll go ahead and give it a little press. And then this goes to this one to make the whole basket. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Sewing 1/4 inch. There is a matching seam right here where you can line up your two seams and make sure they stay right together. I love when we have those little seams where you can just stop and make sure your block stays square, because I used to just kind of sew off the end and you would end with a piece sticking out, and now I know that there's all these little checkpoints along the way, and so that really helps me keep my block lined up and nice. All right, now let's press this open. You guys, these are so fun because it's like a little present. Every time you open one, you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. All right, here's our little block. Let me clip this little thread right here. Look at our little block. How cute is that? Man, really, this is the whole quilt. So let's look how this goes in there. So see how this comes in here right here? And you just sew your blocks right together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. The reason it ended up 6 by 6 is we had only 40 strips, and you know, it doesn't make the right number of baskets to make the right number of quilt. I generally go 6 by 7, but this one ended up 6 by 6. It's really cute. Again, let me tell you the size, 73 by 73. So a great little size quilt, a darling basket, perfect for May Day, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the May Day basket from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.